Good morning, everybody. How are we? Morning, Danny. How are you doing? You are the only person that said hello so far, so I'm talking to you. There you go. It's just you and me. How's everybody doing? Anybody else here? Top fans, one, Danny. Right. So this morning we're going to do something special, something different this morning. We're going to start off, obviously, look at the markets, have a look at what's going on, trade the open, do the usual stuff with forex. But this morning, I'm going to build an EA live, and we're just going to build something. Basically, we're going to build a strategy. We're going to test it out. I'm going to show you how to quickly develop EAs to fast backtest any strategy you find online. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of videos online with people who claim to have amazing strategies. None of them work most of the time. Some of them will, but very few of them do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you how to develop a very quick EA just to test the basic strategy out. Obviously, if you find something that you think, actually, that doesn't look half bad, you can then develop it. But this is kind of a trick I've used for many, many years. Obviously, I'm a coder, so this has been inaccessible to most people until AI has come along. But what I've always done is anytime I've ever come across a strategy, I've built an EA to model it, to backtest it, to prove its edge, which is why I don't system hop and why I stopped system hopping, because 90% of strategies fail when you test them properly. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And it's really simple. I'm going to show you the prompts that you're going to need, the basic functions that you're going to need, all the sort of stuff that will help you basically, hopefully, go and off on your own journey and build models for any strategies that you find. So I'm going to cover that this morning. How far we get, I'm not sure. We'll be able to build an EA. It's going to take me 2 minutes to build an EA. But there's a lot more to it, obviously. But this is kind of a taster, really, to get you into it. So we'll start off with what happened yesterday. Look at the FX markets. Morning, Leon. Morning, Sebastian. Morning, Mark. Yesterday, we had, obviously, the retail sales came out for the dollar, which were negative. So bad news for the dollar. As you can see, if you look at the wrong terminal, if you look at the EA, got EAs on the brain. If you look at the dollar yesterday, when that news came out, we had a little bit of a pop against the dollar, but then obviously this huge drop yesterday. Yesterday, we did 163 pips on the dollar, which is roughly 150 ADR. Massive movement on the dollar yesterday. The basic upshot of it is Trump has said, we are going to come and help Israel bomb the crap out of Iran. Not quite sure when it's happening, but they are either going to send the bunker busters or lend the bunker busters, give the bunker busters to Israel so that they can take out the entire nuclear development program for Iran. A lot of it's underground. So obviously that all kicked off yesterday. Here it is. So we had that massive strength in the dollar. Obviously, that has a negative impact on stock indices. So if you look at the stock indices yesterday, obviously when that came out, they dropped. Not substantially, enough to make a bit of a, sort of alert go off, but nothing particularly dramatic. But obviously we had a down open on the S&P. And then obviously there is where you had that news coming in. So the market opened, where are we? Back here. Market opened there. It was a really choppy open all over the place. And then we had that big collapse. So they all did that. There we go. So got stopped out of a long yesterday on the NAS. And then short worked. So we'll have to wait and see what happens today, but be prepared for some pretty big volatility today. The likelihood is the markets will probably sell off ahead of what's going to happen. How long that will last, we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, with war comes fear. With fear comes stocks being sold off. You sell your risky assets. You buy things like oil. You buy safe havens. If you had a look at the Swiss franc yesterday, yeah, big safe haven run in the Swiss franc started off yesterday. Obviously, we had a much bigger one there. But when it actually starts, there's a likelihood that the Swiss franc will power up again. So you want to be buying the Swiss, you want to be buying the yen, you want to be buying oil. So again, oil likely to benefit dramatically from that. I've got positions on this already in profit. I'm adding more when we break yesterday's high. I will add more when we break last week's high as well. So if this continues to escalate, and the danger we've got here is that this may not escalate anymore. If the US go in with B-52s, drop bunker busters on all of that stuff in Iran, Iran's done. They can't fight back. They've got no air superiority. The air superiority over Israel, Jordan, and Iran, and to a certain extent over Iraq, is 100% Iranian and US. They haven't got any planes, basically, that can combat them. So they don't stand a chance. They can't win. So obviously this could very, very quickly revert. Iran will just go, yep, you got us, we give up. And then everything will revert. The stock markets will rally, oil will drop down again. So Iran obviously have got control of oil pipelines. They can switch it off at any time, and that will send the oil price even further through the roof. So we've just got to be aware of that, which is why I've got a long on oil at the moment. I've got 6 positions on at the moment. I'm holding, and I will add to that. So there's an opportunity to make a nice profit on this as a position. I will probably take some off if it doesn't go in the next couple of days, but we'll wait and see what happens. So ADRs, there's nothing today. We obviously had that big move yesterday. RSIs are all done, apart from Euro Pound on the 4 hours, the only thing you've got extended at the moment, which is a nice looking short, which I'm toying with the idea of getting into. It's not quite where I want it to be at the moment. We've had that positive news on the pound this morning with CPI. There. So CPI came out 0.1 up year on year. Not a massive difference. It is a deviation, but it's not a massive deviation. We've got FOMC today, this evening as well. So the FOMC is more likely to move the market later. But this one is in a kind of a little bit of a no man's land at the moment. So the last week's high was a rejection of the monthly high. It came into propulsion. They've rebought it. There's nothing to stop it really until we get to here, which is about 200 ADR upside resistance, and then this downside propulsion move. But that was off the back of the bond sales that Europe did. So I don't think there's really going to be much there. So I'd like to see it up here. That's where I want to short it from. Shorting it here is kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing there to say this is a good level. You could say that is there. It's that previous support resistance, which is ADR today. So I'd be tempted to short that at ADR with a backup at 200 ADR. Average would be in there, and then look for a pullback on that leg. But right now, it's not quite where I want it to be. It is extended, but it's just no logical reason, is there, for that to short now? Especially with that pound news being positive this morning. Obviously, that's all you got out of it. You got a reversal alert, but you know, it could well happen. It could go from there, but I'd rather wait and see. So apart from that, there's nothing much else to look at today. Pound New Zealand's extended as well. That's off the back of a weekly bounce. There we go. So that's a lovely looking long. I'm not trading the Pound New Zealand, but that would be a nice looking long. It's very expensive to trade it in both directions, so I'm not interested. But yeah, so that's what I've got on at the moment. Pound US, as I say, I posted that this morning. I got out of a load of that this morning. And Euro Pound, I'm interested in a short, just not sure about getting into it right now. Euro Swiss, I'm short at the moment. That's been flip-flopping around for ages. Euro CAD, I've got shorts on at the moment. Again, flip-flopping around for days. I can't really get anywhere on that one. That's pushing up again at the moment. Swiss yen, shorts on, waiting for some movement on that. But Swiss, in the end, this is not the greatest thing in the world to be in when you've got safe haven runs going on, because these guys both push together. So this is going nowhere. I'd kind of like to get out of this. So it's one of those, if we can kind of get down into this sort of territory, I'd just rather walk away from it. I don't really want to be in it. Aussie US, nothing on at the moment. Can't really find an entry on that. And Aussie New Zealand, I can't find an entry on that. It's just sideways. Can't get anywhere. So really struggling at the minute to get risk on. But apart from oil, fundamentals is the way forward at the minute. I just can't really do anything else with it. Right, let's have a look at the markets this morning. Stop out straight away on the FTSE and triggered long without even getting there. Oh no, sorry, no, it did. Wow, look at that. Okay, so no trade on the DAX. The FTSE 5-minute ORB was a short trigger straight up to a stop out long trigger. So we got an outside bar. The 10-minute bar is an outside bar on the 5-minute bar. So this is going nowhere today, is it? Yeah, straight down and stop me out again, why don't you? Mess, absolute mess at the open. Not really that surprised, to be honest, but yeah, there's no traction at all. FOMC day can often be very, very, very flat. So be a little cautious, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Right, so I've not really got anything else to look at this morning. There's no ADRs to look at. There's nothing much on the RSIs. News-wise today, obviously, we've got plenty of news today. We've had the CPI, no real impact off the back of that. It is slightly bullish UK, but not massively. Unemployment claims, we've got a 130. Generally doesn't tend to do much at the moment. Backlam is speaking mid-afternoon, and then it's all about FOMC. So this evening, we're getting the interest rates for the US. Obviously, this is the biggest news event in the calendar. There's no forecast change. Powell is unlikely to say they are going to change. It's not really going the right way with inflation. So I'm expecting this to be data driven. Potentially September, we'll look at dropping rates, which is what they've been saying for ages. So we are freezing rates, I think, at 4.5 until September for the US. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It's difficult to sort of forecast anything with the US at the moment, obviously, because Trump is upsetting everything. We've now got new conflict, which the US is getting involved in. You can't forecast anything to do with interest rates, and interest rates is what drives currency strength. So we're all kind of stuck in the same boat at the moment. No idea. We've got New Zealand GDP overnight and the Australian unemployment as well. So just be aware, obviously, if you have got any exposure on Australasian pairs, you've got two big news events coming overnight on those. Don't think I'm exposed at the moment on any Australasian. No, I've got no Aussie, no New Zealand on. I can't really find any reason to get into those guys at the minute. Yeah, load of rubbish. Right, so there we go. Anybody got any questions on anything they want to look at this morning, pairs wise? If there's anything you want me to look at, obviously happy to do that. If not, we'll get on with what we're going to look at. Watching that oil pullback. Still rejecting. So hoping we're going to get a run on the weekly high today. It's within ADR. If we can get up to ADR today, that'd be phenomenal. As much as I hate to say it, I'd love a big bomb to be dropped on Iran at the moment, because oil price will go through the roof. Sebastian, can you please explain in S&P 100 daily why you think we are bullish after breaking the high? I don't think we're bullish. I don't think anything on the S&P. I don't have a bias on stock indices. It's a very dangerous thing to have a bias on a stock index. We're not going anywhere at the minute. We're just going sideways. You're bullish above that level, above the 6,000, basically, because I think we're going to run the highs. That's the only reason I would say we're bullish at the moment, but we're bearish if the war kicks off. This is the thing about bias. This is why I trade the opening range breakout strategy. I go with the momentum. I go with where the price is going. I don't go with where I think What you think is irrelevant. What you think the market is going to do has got nothing to do with the market. The market doesn't know you, doesn't care about you. You don't exist. It will go where it goes. Stock indices go up. Have done for decades. They always will do. As long as businesses are in business, they will make profit. As long as they make profit, their share price will go up. As long as share prices go up, the top 500 businesses in the UK index, in the US index, will go up. Fact. Always has, always will. That's what it does. It's manufactured, engineered to make 8% on average return a year. 8 to 12, depending on how good your year is. That's what it does. So you're always bullish stock indices. Apart from when you get some world event that makes the entire market go fear. We have that. We have Trump and tariffs. We have conflict. If Trump and tariffs is over and conflict is going to fizzle out, we are going to test those highs. They are 300 ADR away and easily achievable this week. But it's stuck. It can't get anywhere. But I am always of the opinion with stock indices, if you break the last week's high, you're likely to go long. Yeah, if you look at this is obviously a monthly chart, but you know, every week it goes up, or it tries to go up. It'll have a pullback, but then it will try to go up every week. It will try and make new highs. Yeah, you've got the high, all-time high within 3 ADR after breaking the previous month's high. So that's, yeah, the way I see it. But at any second, that could drop like that or like that very easily on any news. I think struggle with... sorry, I didn't read the full of your question, did I? Why do you think we are bullish after breaking the high at 59.60? $59.60. I mean, that I don't know what that 59.60 level is. That here. I mean, market structure is highs and lows. You're making higher highs and higher lows. It's bullish. Look, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Standard market structure. But at the moment, you're very sideways, aren't you? So the measurement of bullish and bearish is something that I have never been able to find a gauge for. The main reason being, there's no trade on the DAX this morning. The main reason being, there's a billion ways to measure directional strength, directional movement. Most people use a moving average, a 20, a 50, a 100, whatever you want to use. So if it's above the line or the angle of the moving average is pointing up, it's bullish. Otherwise, it's bearish. And it could be neutral if it's sort of pointing sideways. I was taught to use 2 moving averages to measure directional bias. One weak, one strong, one short term, one medium term. But you could use breaking highs and market structure. You can use all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your bias is. If the market decides to turn down, these lines mean absolutely nothing. So this is why I believe you should go with price. If price is going down, go down. If price is going up, go up. With stock indices. Because they are very fickle beasts. If it's going sideways, go with the short-term price movement. That's all you can do. But if you think it is bullish or bearish above or below a certain price point, do it. You've got a 50-50 chance of it being right every day, haven't you? So if you think it's bullish because we're above that high or that high, go long. If it goes down, you'll lose. Nothing you can do to really sort of clarify, quantify, whatever you want to say about anything to do with trading. It's literally flick a coin at the end of the day. Does that answer the question? I'm not sure I really understood the question because you asked me why I think it's bullish. I don't think it's bullish. I don't have a bias on anything. I go with the flow. Today, I'm going long on the FTSE because it's breaking up. I went short because it broke down. Now I'm going up because it's going up. I go with where it goes. I don't think it's bullish or bearish, the FTSE. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. Whether I don't do any of this. It's absolutely nothing at the moment. So if it wants to go long, I'll go long. If it wants to go short, I'll go short. I don't think anything. I think it's a very dangerous thing to have a bias, especially on stock indices. Because if you've got a bias, you will constantly try and do one thing. And if it does the other, you will constantly hemorrhage cash. Because if this is going long today, I am going to do nothing but buy it. Every time it shorts, you won't take it and you will try and buy the dip on the market structure that goes down like that. You'll buy every single dip. Yeah. If you'd have just realized it was going short in the first place, you'd have made a fortune. So your bias is whichever direction it's going. Right now, it's got no direction. So I am currently long because that's the last move we had was bullish. I have no idea whether that will work or not. If it doesn't work, I will stop out on it. That's it. And it doesn't look like it's going to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I might, I will definitely be getting another trade on that if it stops out before the 6-bar range. But choppy mess today. I meant the daily time frame. You mentioned it last week, but I think I misunderstood you. Wrong chart. Yeah, I mean daily. So yeah, I mean I probably would have said last week if we break above last month's high. Yeah, so I mean if we break and hold above last month's high, it's bullish. That's just because we are above last month's high. Yeah. Look at what stock indices do. Every single one of these is a month. So there's your monthly high, there's your monthly high, there's your monthly high, there's your monthly high, there's your monthly high. That's what they do. 90% of the time, stock markets close higher month on month than they did the month before because stocks go up, because businesses make money, because their share price goes up, their company expands. Everybody in the S&P 500 is there because their businesses are performing well. If you are in position 500 and your business is not performing well, number 501 will come up and take your spot. Therefore, this index that monitors the top 500 businesses will only do that. Because if 40 of the businesses, for example, all suddenly started performing badly, they would drop out the top 500 and be replaced by 40 businesses that are outside the 500 that are doing well. Therefore, they will go up. Everything will always go up. This thing will go up forever until that number there, which is currently 6,000, reads 600,000 or 6 billion. It will never stop. And it never has stopped. It's all it does. It goes up. Yeah. I'm going back now to 2012. Yeah. So this is over 10 years. This is over a decade. And if I go 10 years into the future, I can draw this into the future if you want. It's going to do that. So where we started 10 years ago, down at 1,297, we're now at 6,000. So we've moved up roughly 5,000. Yeah. So in 10 years, that price quote there at 6,000 will be somewhere like 11 or 12,000. And in 20 years' time, it'll be something like 18,000, 20,000. I don't know what the number will be. It's irrelevant, isn't it? It just goes up. We'll never stop. Same with NASDAQ. Same with all stock indices. DAX. I haven't got much DAX data, but I mean, it's, I haven't got much DAX data there, but it's up. Dow Jones. Industrial stocks started off in 2012 at 11,666. We're now up at 42,314. Give it another decade, we'll be up at 70, 80,000. Because it will continue to go up. If inflation rises, as it always does, prices will rise, stocks will rise, indices will monitor stock prices, they will rise. Just evolution of price. So therefore, your stance is always long-term bullish. Short-term, go with the flow. Short-term, if the index wants to go down today before it goes up, we go short. Yeah. If you think it's going up and you only ever buy a dip intraday, yeah, and basically what it does is that you will get killed. If we knew what it was going to do every day, we'd be billionaires, wouldn't we? Has there been any more work on the ORB? No. I know you are busy with many projects. Just want to know regarding the breakout EA, not ORB. Haven't done that either. I've got so many strategies that make money. I just struggle to find new ones to add because they just are I can literally. We're going to go through EA development today. I'm going to show you how to develop an EA yourself, right? You can go out and build it yourself. Go and build it yourself. I've got so many projects sitting there going around in circles because I just don't have the time. I make money trading the strategies that I trade. If I add another 5 in there, I'm just going to add more capital. It's not necessarily going to make me more money. So I've just struggled time-wise to try and find what to do with my time. This is my biggest problem. Always has been. Focus. I'm focused on everything all at once. I need to split myself into 1,000 and then have one version of me working on one thing. I never get anything finished because I'm always constantly doing other things. There's only a certain amount of hours in the day. Like yesterday, I spent a good 2.5 hours looking at the fundamentals of oil prices because I've got an oil trade on. I didn't have time to do any development. But hopefully what I'm going to show you today will help you do some development. Okay, that was it. It was the weekly high, not any price level. Yeah, so it's just support resistance. Support resistance is key, is absolute key. Yeah, if you're this close to a resistance, which is an all-time high, you can guarantee with 90% certainty the market is going to run it. So you should be bullish at the moment because it's highly likely the market is going to test that level and it will exceed it. It will always, whenever you get to an all-time high, you always beat it. Yeah, look at it. Doesn't have to beat it by much, but it will always beat it. It will always get there. It will always break it. Unless someone drops a massive bomb. And then it won't go for it because it won't have a choice because the entire world will go, sell risky assets, stocks, get rid of all the stocks. Buy the Swiss franc, buy the yen, buy oil, get rid of the stocks. And it's just timing. We are here. There's every reason for the market to test that high. Unless someone drops a big bomb. It will always go down immediately. So, world events, yeah. This is why technical analysis is useless and fundamentals is always key and always king. Yeah, I don't care if you draw a line. I don't care if you draw a trend line. I don't care if you see an M pattern. I don't care if you see a head and shoulders forming. If somebody says something about interest rates, inflation, or conflict, the market will do whatever the hell it wants. It doesn't know about your line. It doesn't know about your trend line. It doesn't know what an M pattern is. It's never seen a head and shoulders in its life. If interest rates are going to drop in the US within the next month and we didn't know about it, it's going down. Yeah. Forget any of this crap. Irrelevant. Yeah. However, if we get to that point and there is no news of any kind that is dramatic and going to move the market, the sellers will be trying to resell that level and it will bounce from it. But it will probably pierce it first and get exhausted and then come down. Technicals work when fundamentals are not happening. Fundamentals are what drives the market. This is why banks and institutions pay economists 125 grand a year to sit at a desk and tell them which way the price is going, because that is what drives it. Fundamentals. Very important. Talking about that, we're going to go and build an EA now. So there we go. We've talked about stuff. Right. What's the time? 8:30. Perfect. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to build a simple EA. Okay. The world has changed. We now have AI, and AI is quite clever. So what I'm going to show you is ways to quickly model an EA to do a very simple test of a strategy for you. Okay. Euro Swiss just hit ADR. So I'm going to pick something very, very simple, which is basically just going to create a breakout strategy or something like that. Just something really simple. But the core crux that you want to take away today is the main things that you need to get something tested. Okay. So a strategy consists usually of multiple things. The first thing is a market condition. Yeah. So you need a condition to be met. So for example, RSI to be above 80 is a market condition. So an indicator has exceeded something. You then need a signal. Yeah. So when the condition is met, you then need a signal to tell the EA or to tell yourself that I want to take a trade. So in this case, when the RSI is above that level and price closes below the 5 moving average, for example, I want to take a trade. Yeah. So when the condition is met and a signal occurs, we take a trade. We then need to work out how much we want to risk on that trade. We want to work out where we want to exit the trade if the trade goes against us. I'm assuming we're shorting. And we want to work out where we're going to target. Yeah. So that is typically a risk reward ratio. Yeah. So those are the core elements of any strategy. There is no strategy out there that does not have those elements in it. Yeah. There are methodologies like position trading that do not use stop losses and do not necessarily use take profits, but they always have a condition, they always have a signal, and they always need to risk something. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just build something very, very simple that is going to trade something along those lines. Yeah. But the thing that I want you to take out today is what you need to make a strategy. Yeah. So I personally love this AI, which is called Cody. And it's a specific coding based agent. And what it does, it uses Claude Sonnet 4. And it basically is more code orientated than anything else. So it understands code a lot better, basically. It understands the logic of lots and lots of different languages. It understands the structure of coding a lot more. And it makes a lot less mistakes as long as you are asking it the right things. Okay. And this is where the sort of key sort of takeaway from today is the prompt. If you've used AI before, you'll know that you can ask it something and get a load of rubbish back. It's garbage in, garbage out in the same way as programming always has been. If you have a bad programmer coding badly, the resulting code and program will be bad. If you prompt EA with a bad prompt, it will give you something bad. Okay, so the more specific you are with your prompt, which is basically the question that you're asking or what you're asking it to do, you will get a much more precision product back or precision sort of result from the query. Okay, so asking something along the lines of make me a trading strategy for MT4 that sells when RSI is extended is a very, very, very short prompt. Yeah. So it's going to go, okay, no problem. Here we go. I'm going to code you an EA for MT4 that sells when RSI is extended. I haven't given it any specifics. I've basically said, I want you to sell when RSI is extended. Remember, we've got a set of things that that a strategy needs. It needs a condition, it needs a signal, it needs a risk, it needs a target, it needs a stop. Those 5 elements are core. You can't have anything working without those 5 elements. You can add in time, you can add in trailing stops, you can add in partial closes, you can add in a multitude of other things to do with a strategy, but the basics are 5. You've got to have those. So let's see what it's come up with. Let's just copy that, go over to MT4, open up meta editor. I'm going to make a new EA. We'll call it AI strategy. Okay, paste the code in, save it, compile it. Bang. There we go. We've got a strategy. So let's stick that in the strategy tester and see what that does. AI strategy. Okay, so in our inputs, we have lot size. So this is what I kind of want to point out. Okay, I asked it 1 sentence. It wasn't even a full sentence. It was kind of half a sentence. Make me a strategy with RSI, basically. I said. So it's gone. Okay, you need a strategy with RSI. Right, you're going to need to get in. So how much are we going to risk? Don't know. He hasn't told me. So I'm going to give him an option. I'm going to say, right, here you go. You can select a lot size. He hasn't told me what RSI he wants to use either. So I'm going to let him choose the RSI. He hasn't said what levels he wants to use. So I'm going to go with 70 and 50. And he hasn't told me what his stop and take profit are going to be. So I'm going to put basic ones in for him. But all of these are now put in as inputs. Okay. So remember those 5 key things that we need. The condition, RSI, the signal, unknown, the lot size, risk, calculated for us, TP, stop loss. Yeah, it knows what we need as a basic. And this is one of the beautiful things about Cody and why I love Cody. You can be really, really stupid with it. And it will come back and go, you're an idiot, mate. You haven't even asked me what risk you want to use. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you the option. Yeah, so it's clever in that respect. We don't know at the moment, though, how this works. So it gives you a summary. So save it into your experts folder, attach it to your chart, usual stuff. Okay, so the entry, it sells when the RSI crosses above the overbought level. It closes a position when RSI drops to the exit level, default 50. So the strategy that it's created looks like a short only strategy, doesn't it? Yeah. So when we get above that level, 70, it sells. So it's immediately going to place a sell order. And then it's going to close that when it gets down below 50. So it's a mean reversion short only strategy because there's no inputs there to go long, is there? So the RSI period 14 is being used. Overbought level is 70. Exit is 50. Lot size. And we also have a stop loss and a take profit, but those are disabled by default. Only opens 1 position at a time. Automatic position management, error handling, trade logging, and customizable parameters. Okay, so that is the very, very basics that we've come up with. So let's just quickly run that and see what it does. It's going to be absolutely terrible. Let's run it on an hourly time frame. Euro, US dollar, absolutely fine. Let's go back to January 25. I've got a horrible feeling I've updated my data and it's going to need to recalculate. Yeah. Damn. Okay, so I'm just going to have to recalculate, regenerate tick data because it won't take long. I've just updated all the data. So this is the basics. So this is an example of how not to do it, right? So whenever you find a strategy on YouTube or anywhere in PDF format or whatever, typically they will give you every single criteria of the strategy. Yeah. So they're going to teach you something, which is when the Bollinger Band when the price gets outside of the Bollinger Band, you wait for a candle to open outside the Bollinger Band and close inside the Bollinger Band, and then you take a short. Your stop loss is placed above the high of the last 3 candles, and your TP is placed at 1.5R. There's a strategy, yeah? So you've got a condition, you've got a signal, open outside, close inside, you've got a stop loss placement, and you've got a target placement. So you've got all the basics there. You've got the condition, the signal, the stop, the risk. Probably won't tell you the risk. It will probably say, you know, risk 0.5%, risk 1%, risk 2%, risk whatever you want. It's up to you, isn't it? It's a variable. But That's basically the basics you'll get with any strategy. So what I've done is I've basically given it a load of gobbledygook and it's given me back a strategy, which is probably going to be pretty crap. So let's just run it and see if we take some trades. There we go. Right, so RSI above a certain level. What's that done? Taken a load of losses, yeah, because we've got the wrong stop loss placement, we've got the wrong TP placement, yeah. So as you can see what it's doing, let me just stick the candlesticks in the background. It's taking trades. So the RSI there, if we stick an RSI, what was it? The RSI 14, wasn't it? Stick that on the chart so we can see it. But 14, it's probably using RSI close because I didn't ask it for a parameter on that. Yeah, there you go. So RSI got above there. So we got above there. So the candle closed. It was above there. We went short and basically stopped out. Yeah, then it was above there again. So we went short, it stopped out. Because we had no trade on, it went short, stopped out, went short, stopped out, went short, stopped out, went short, stopped out, went short. We got a winner. Yay. But you see where it's going wrong? Yeah, because we've got basically the condition is met. The signal is, if we're above that, take a trade if there isn't one, but only take one trade at a time. So obviously, as soon as you stop out, it just gets straight back in again. Yeah. So things like only take one trade per candle is a very simple amendment that you can make to it. So, okay, that works great. See that, yeah. It takes multiple trades per candle. I only want one trade per candle, and I need a long signal too. You only gave me a short signal. Okay, so basically I've just said, that's great, good start. Now I want you to do this. Okay, so it's just going to rewrite that EA now for me completely. And then as you can see now, we've got new inputs being formed there. So the RSI period is 14, overbought is 70. It's now given me oversold at 30. And I've got a long and a short exit, which is that 50 level as well. Yeah, stop loss, take profit, still the same. So everything else is the same, but it forgot to give me long signals. So I just said, give me some long signals and only take one trade per candle. Yeah, so it's completely rewritten that code or rewriting that code for me. When we get there. The reason I'm picking something fairly simple is because obviously the more complex it is, the more time it's going to take to code. Okay, so here's an overview of what's changed. RSI oversold parameter for buy signals, should buy function for long entry. So it's changed some logic to say we want a short entry and a long entry because it only had the one. Open buy order, obviously. Last trade time variable to track when the last trade was made. Can trade function checks if the current candle time differs from the last trade time. So this is the way that it's decided to handle. Now, there are 100 ways you can do what I've just asked, which is only take one trade per candle. It's decided to do it this way. You won't know if you don't know how to code what the best way to do it is. So there's certain elements you're just going to have to rely on this knowing what it does. But there's many ways you can do that. So you could say, oh, yeah, I won't go through all the different ways, but the way it's done it is okay. It works. So let's copy that, stick it in our code, get rid of that, paste it, save it, compile it, done, no errors. Back over to the terminal and stop that. Okay, so now we have a RSI oversold level, a buy signal. Now, this is basically just buying as soon as the condition is met. There's no actual signal there, is there? So we'll basically start this test again, run it again. Okay, so let's stick our RSI on there so we can actually see the RSI 14. There we go. So there's your extended condition. And it's taken a trade with a stop loss there and a TP there. So let's see what happens with this one. Okay, we stopped out. Now it's taken another trade there. It looks like it's stopped out again. Yeah, so we stopped out on 2 trades, but you see the thing that's happening now is it only taking 1 trade per candle rather than taking hundreds of trades every time that condition is met within one 1 hour candle. Okay, there's another trade there. There's a winner. See if we get a sell order. There's a sell, which didn't work out, but 1 trade a candle, 1 trade a candle. Obviously, the strategy is terrible. We're not looking for a strategy that works. We're looking for how to code the strategy. We're looking at the way it works. Yeah, so it's done exactly what we wanted, isn't it? So there we go. Built an EA. How long has that taken? We started at 2:30. It's 1:45. We've already got an EA working. Done. If you want to test RSI extensions, there you go. There's an EA to do that. So just go in there. You can test different stop loss levels. So stick this in the optimizer. Choose all the different levels, choose different variables on all of this, and bang, suddenly you can backtest every single permutation of RSI extension strategy there is on every time frame. 15 minutes this has taken us. That's what we've got. And I gave it a load of crap. I've said basically 1 sentence. Make me an EA that trades RSI. Okay. So that's an example of how powerful it can be whenever you find a strategy. But this is the bad way to give a prompt. Okay. This is not any different to the good way of giving a prompt. And that's an important takeaway, because when it gets it wrong, you just tell it got it wrong and it will get it right. So I'm just trying to think of some way we can enhance this. So, okay, great. Love this, but I want to only trade when price closes above the 5 EMA and the RSI condition is met. Okay, so rather than just saying every time we candle close below it, take a trade, wait and make sure that the candle, the RSI reading is below 20, but wait for us to close above the 5 moving average. Signal. Yeah, we need a condition and a signal. We had a condition, but it didn't use a signal. So I'm introducing a signal. Okay, so that's going to now recode this, and it's basically going to put this in. One thing you can also do is, if you're making a change to code, rather than just saying, I want you to change it, you can say, just show me the piece of code that needs altering. Okay, so in this case, we're adding a new thing, right? But if I was to say, for example, I don't want to use the RSI anymore, I want to use the MACD, I could say, okay, that's great. I want the condition to not use the RSI, but use the MACD indicator. Show me the code change I need to make that happen. And what it will do is it won't rewrite the entire code for you. It will just go, right, this is the code we have at the moment. Find that, delete it, and replace it with X. Okay, so that's just another thing you can obviously do. There we go. So we've added a 5-period moving average. So let's just quickly whack that into the coder. Pilot, fine, all works good. Okay, so now we probably have a variable, EMA period for trend filter. I didn't ask for a trend filter. I asked for a signal. So let's see what this does. I'm going to stick the RSI on the chart, and I'm going to stick an MA on the chart so we can see that 5 moving average. And let's see how this works. Also, you can see it's given me a load of data, which I didn't ask it for. So up here in the top left-hand corner, it's put the RSI and EMA strategy, and it gives you the readings of everything, the moving average reading, the last close price, whether the price versus the EMA is below or above, whether there's a signal or not. I didn't ask it for any of this. It's gone, I'll tell you what, he'd probably love it if I did all this. And it gives you all this extra stuff, which you might think is amazing. But this is a problem. And I'll come on to I'll cover what it is now, actually. This is basically kind of what they class as a hallucination, where it goes, I know what needs to be done, and it's not what you've asked. And this is why the way that I'm prompting at the moment, I don't think is the way to do it. I think the way to do it is to write a prompt that is very, very, very specific and gives you exactly what you want, because it suddenly misconstrued the fact that my moving average signal is actually a filter. It looks like it's put a 5 EMA filter on there, not a 5 EMA crossover entry signal. So it's given me all this extra information here, which is great, but I don't want it. I haven't asked for it. So now I've got to ask it if I don't want it to uncode that. And every time you make a code change, something else can break. So although it's a good thing, you may think, when you ask it to remove all of this, it might break something else. And you end up going down this road of broken, 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 broken. And every time something changes, something else gets broken. Yeah. So the reason I'm doing it this way is just to show you what happens when you do it the right way and what happens when you do it the wrong way. I'm making this up as I go along, by the way. This strategy on the fly, I've just plucked it out of the air because it's indicators I use. Okay, so we took a long there. Oh, so it is working correctly. So it's waiting for a signal. RSI is neutral, it says. So there we go. Opened below, closed above, took a trade. So the RSI was extended below that level. That was the first close above the 5-moving average. We took a long and that trade's worked out. We've automatically made this strategy a million times better because we've now got not only a condition in the market, but we've got a signal, which is the bulls entering on the extended condition. Yeah. So again, exactly what we do day in, day out, all the time. We wait for the market to be on our side before we get in. So let's see when we get our next signal. There we go. So we got a sell there. Right. So that didn't work. So price opened above the 5 EMA, but it did not close below. So there's a problem there. So we've got an issue. Yeah. So this is where you're going to find stuff is going to go wrong because I haven't been clear enough with the EA. It's got it wrong. This isn't what I wanted it to do. The buy side seems to be working fine, but the sell side is not working fine at all, is it? It's wrong. Okay. So that's that EA that we've just built. Okay. So that's kind of version 1. So I can now ask it to do all sorts of other things. So I won't go any further down this route, but this is, it's not taken long, as it's taken 20 odd minutes to build this. We've asked it to make 3 kind of revisions to it. It's done a pretty good job, but the initial prompt that was given up here was make a trading strategy for MT4 that sell when RSI is extended. Yeah, very, very simple. So the best way and the proper way to prompt this is to write out a standard kind of operating procedure, if you like, for asking for a strategy to be developed. So the way that I tend to do this, or the way that I build this, which is obviously what this can now do, is I would say build an EA for MT4 with the following inputs and entry criteria. Okay, so I'm saying that we have something that has to be built using specific inputs and criteria. So inputs. Okay, so now I'm saying this is what I want you to give me as inputs. RSI overbought, RSI oversold, risk. We're going to need target, stop loss. So those are the basic things that we're going to need. Our condition indicator and our signal indicator. We're going to need to come up with a signal. So we just use a moving average. Okay. So what you do is you plan out what you're going to need your EA to do. So when you're given any strategy, it's going to have a condition, a signal, a risk, a TP, and a stop loss. So you need to specify exactly what has got to happen on that chart. Now, the important thing is most EAs will work on candle close most of the time. So you wait for that candle to close, and as soon as the next one opens, it uses that closed candle data to make a decision. So what we're going to need to do is define basically when we should also take a trade. So only take 1 trade per candle. Every time a new candle opens, Let me just define these. So RSI overbought. So these are the inputs I've asked for. So I'm just going to describe the trading strategy first. So the strategy waits for the RSI to be overbought or oversold. Then every candle, we wait for the EMA. We wait for the, sorry, that's not right. Every candle we check for the following conditions. Sell order. Candle open is above the EMA input. Candle close is below the EMA input. RSI is above the overbought level. Stop loss is whatever it's going to be. So we'd need to set a stop loss. Depends how you want to do it. So with the stop loss, I would say let's just use above the high of the previous candle, shall we? Stop loss is above the high of the can't spell it, overbought. Stop loss is above the high of the previous candle. Take profit is a multiple of stop loss distance. So I'm just creating this on the fly. So I'm just making it up as I go along. So I'm not going to have a stop loss as an input. I'm going to have a target. Multiple of the stop loss distance. Risk, percentage of account balance. RSI overbought, default to 70. RSI oversold, default to 30. EMA signal 5 EMA. Okay, so the strategy, wait for the RSI to be overbought or oversold. Then every candle we check for the following conditions. Sell order. Candle open is above the EMA input. Candle close is below the EMA input. RSI is above the overbought level. Stop loss is above the high of the previous candle. Take profit is a multiple of the stop loss distance. Only take one trade per candle every time a new candle opens. And that's it. So basically, this is a much more detailed breakdown of exactly what I've asked it to do. Yeah. I often put in do not use any other inputs. And then the final thing we need here is buy order opposite of the sell conditions. Okay, so it will know what a sell order is, and now I'm asking it to do a buy order in the opposite. Okay, so let's just quickly run that one. So it's going to give us roughly the same strategy, but hopefully, and this is where I'm probably going to fall over backwards, or rather fall down, is this will give us exactly what we want with one prompt. So there won't be any going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. It takes a little bit longer to write it out, but you're going to get specifically what you've asked for. One of the other things that you're going to find is you're going to find different instruments are going to have different criteria, which you're going to need to adjust for. So, for example, you've got 5-digit instruments like the yen, you've got 2-digit instruments, stock indices, all that sort of thing. So there will be slight differences in risk, but let's just quickly copy that one in there and see what that one does. Save. So it's 100. It's only 180 lines of code. It's tiny. There we go. Done. So if we come back over here, so now we've got RSI overbought 70, RSI oversold 30, risk percentage of account 2, but that's 1. multiple of stop loss distance is 2, EMA signal is 5. So let's quickly run that and see how that one works. So we're looking for our moving average. Okay, so we're waiting for the candle to open below and close above for a buy, open above, close below for a sell. We need the RSI extended. So no extension on the RSI there. Now we've got an extended RSI. Are we going to get a signal? Yes, we did. Okay, so you can see that it took a trade there. Let me just move the candles behind. Can't really see it very clearly, but there is a buy there. So opened below, closed above, RSI condition was met, target was hit. Stop loss was 1%, target was 2%. So this account is a $10,000 account and it's made $200. So we risked 1%, we made 2%. So it's done exactly what we wanted it to do, isn't it? It's automatically calculated the lot size for us based on our risk parameters. And he took the one trade, which is great. So no trade conditions are met. We're going to get an RSI extension now. Didn't get a signal. Might have to adjust the RSI conditions a little bit because you're going to find it tricky to get signals with the way this is working. Picking a time period where there's literally flat. Typical. Tell you what we'll do. To make this easier, we will make an amendment to the EA. Okay, that's great. Add a new input called RSI time period, and this will be the time frame to monitor for RSI overbought and oversold conditions. Just the EA to work using that RSI time period, regardless of which time frame we run the EA on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start running this on the 15-minute time frame or the 5-minute time frame, and take EMA signals on the 5-minute time frame or the 15-minute time frame, but I'm going to be able to input an RSI time frame to use. So it will monitor the RSI on the hourly, 4-hourly, or whatever time frame we want, but it will take the signals on the time frame that we place the EA onto. So it's a multi-time frame strategy. So I'm basically converting it into a multi-time frame strategy. All I've done is asked it in plain English to do that for me. Yeah. So give me another input for time frame, and that's what I want to monitor the RSI oversold and overbought conditions on. Everything else is exactly the same. That. Save, compile. Done. So stop that. Inputs. Now I've got my time frame. So the RSI overbought and oversold on the hourly. Okay. But I'm going to run this now on the 5-minute chart. So the problem we're going to have here is we're not going to know what the RSI period reading is on the hourly time frame because we can't see it because we're running it on 5-minute, aren't we? So we've got no way of really verifying that this works. So it's taken a short, a long there, and another long, and another long, and another long, and another long, and it's failing basically because we're on a very, very low time frame. You can see the 5 moving average there. We're going to cross that many times while that RSI is extended. So we probably should be using a time frame like M15 for this. But the problem I've got is I can't see that RSI. I don't know what it is. So we can ask for that to be put on the chart. So on the chart, put text which tells me what the RSI reading is on the time frame from my input, e.g. 1 hour, which is the default input. Okay, so basically I'm just going to say I need to be able to see what the RSI is on my chart. Yeah, because I couldn't see it. So again, it's going to rewrite the whole thing for me. Now, the problem with Cody and with most AI models is this is a browser window. Yeah, if you're using Google Chrome, you know how much memory Google Chrome uses up. So this is just writing text after text after text after text. And after a while, you'll notice this page gets very, very long as it keeps completely rewriting the EA from scratch every single time. So you're going to get to a point where you want to start prompting it to just tell you what to add or what to change so that it gives you tiny code snippets to add in. Yeah, so what I've done there is I've said put text on there. So it's gone, no problem, I'll rewrite the whole thing for you. It's probably 3 lines of code which have changed. So I'll ask it that in a second and it will clarify that for us. So there's our new written code. Okay, so we'll copy that out, pop that in. This is obviously a very simple example that we're using here, but so we'll start that again. Can't see it because it's in yellow. Did it give me an input to change the color of that? No. Okay, so you can't see that because it's in yellow. Let me just change the color. Yeah, so there it is. It's RSI is 30. It's neutral, so it's not going to take any trades. So it's going to continuously tell us what that RSI level is. So oversold, neutral. Overbought, so it's going to start taking shorts. Yeah, there we go. So there's our strategy built. Obviously, now we just asked it for that. So the thing that you want to do with Cody or with whichever AI model you choose, but this is the one I've found is the best, is try and get these code snippets done and changed just in smaller chunks rather than rewriting the whole thing. So show me what code changes were made there. Okay, so this is probably going to be like a handful of lines. Okay, that's what it did. Right, so actually, it did a fair old bit actually more than I thought in that particular case. God, that's a long-winded way of doing that. This is the thing. It's done it incredibly complex here. What it's done is great, but it's done the belt and braces version of coding. So if any of you have ever coded before, you'll know that there's a million ways to do the same thing. You can achieve something in 1 line, or you can achieve something in 10 lines with 5 functions. Yeah. The one with 10 lines and 5 functions is going to be more robust, last longer, and be less affected by things that you change in code elsewhere. The 1 line bit is a hack. Yeah. So there's certain things that you would want to hack and there's certain things you want to do properly. That to me is a hack. I just want to see what the RSI number is. Yeah. If it doesn't work, I'll delete the line of code. What it's done here is a very belt and braces complex way of doing something which is very, very simple, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But what you can ask it to do is let's add something else in there. So let's, I want to add the high and low of day readings on the chart too. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do something even simpler than that, right? I want to have the color of the text as an input. Okay, this is the key line here. Yeah, show me the code to add or change to achieve this. Assume I am a new coder. That last line there is going to save you thousands of hours of pain, right? What you're basically saying is, assume I'm a new coder, is teach me like a baby. Yeah. I don't code, right? I want to put new code in. I don't want you to rewrite the whole thing, but tell me step by step how to do this change. Okay. So what it's doing now is it's just giving the changes rather than writing that entire code block for the 1, 2, 3, fourth time. Instead of writing the whole code block for the fourth time, taking up all your memory, it's just basically giving you step by step. So step 1, around line 12 to 18, add this. So before your current input parameters, after, add this new line at the end of your inputs. So this is your old code. This is, look, add this line. Bang. There you go. So you open it up, you go up to the top of your code, add that line. Done. Easy as that. Yeah. Modify the create RSI display function. Okay. So if you find that function, create RSI display, all you do is you go in there, Control F, Control V, there, find next. There it is. Oh, that's the init of it, but this is the code function down here. So it says find this, and before that line, find this line, after, change it to use your input. Yeah. So basically where it says color white, RSI text color. So you just change that one line of code, color white, to RSI text color. So that's the difference between those two lines of code. So where are we? RSI color white there. Done. Right. If I save and compile that, that will work. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to do everything that it's asked for in there. So there's my white color. It's called add this line. It's not finished yet, that code. If I change it to orange, start it, you might not actually get that because there's other lines of codes to add. Yeah. So we haven't quite got to that bit yet. And then in that modify update RSI function, again, it's just going to tell you what to change and where to change it. Yeah. So basically that is the kind of little bit more involved way to do it. Actually, just add the code in again for me. Do it for me. I can't be bothered to go through the code. You do it. So basically, that's the way to do the small changes. So I just want an input for that. Yeah. How do I do that? So it's going to take you a little bit longer because you've got to find code, change code. And if you don't understand what you're doing, sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming. This is the quick way of doing it. But one thing I want you to notice, can you see how slow this is coding now and how fast it was coding at the beginning? The longer this page gets, the more slowly your browser is going to process everything and the slower this code becomes. If you stay in here for an hour and a half, you will find that this will be writing code probably slower than your handwriting. Okay. So you get to a point where you need to copy this code into a brand new chat. I'm just going to wait for this to finish. It's getting a little bit slower now, what it's doing. Quite a lot slower. So yeah, you're going to need to copy this out into a new chat. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to paste the code in there and you're going to say, I've got this EA for MT4, and give it a brief overview of what the EA does. It's a RSI extended trading EA that uses an EMA signal to get in. Yeah. So let's just copy that out and just make sure it's made all those changes for me. File. There we go. So now I've got my input there. Color for RSI display text. I've decided to go with orange. Start. Okay. So now we've got an orange color up there. So that's basically it. So if I copy that code now, because it's starting to slow down, I can then go basically and open a new chat and say, I have this EA for MT4, which trades RSI overbought and oversold conditions using an EMA for entry. You put the changes you want to make in there, and then you basically paste your entire code in. Okay. So what that's going to do now is we're starting a new chat in a new window, all fresh, with just this text in it, and it will speed up the processing time. But you don't need to explain everything that the EA does. It knows that. It built it. Yeah. And it will basically pass straight through this code and go, okay, I get it. I know what it does. Okay. So I know you've told me what this does. I've confirmed what this does. It will have coded. In fact, I didn't actually ask it to comment the code. It's put headings there, but you can ask it to comment it as well. So it will explain in English exactly what each of these functions does. But basically that's the crux of it. What you would do with it is you say, I've got this EMA, this EA that I've built. I want to make these changes to it, and here's the code, and it will do that. So let's just think of something else we can ask it to do. Add on the chart a running total of profit, loss, winning, and losing trades, and strike rate. Yeah. So just asking it to just add some new functionality, but you'll see that this will speed up a fair bit. Yeah. It's not actually that much faster in this particular case, but usually it will be. It's probably because I'm streaming, actually, because obviously this is using your resources from your machine, and obviously I'm streaming at the moment, so it's going to be using a lot more. But basically just asking it now to put a load of extra data on the page. So this is kind of the crux of what you can do now with AI. You can build much more complex things than this. So I use a platform called Visual Code. So this is basically a piece of software, if you like, that and this is an EA that I'm building at the moment, which is a price feed EA. But basically what this does is it is an advanced version of Cody, where basically it will have context. It will remember what it's been doing in the past in history. And it will also have a code base that you can use to tell it other things. So it kind of works very much in the same way, but it's a bit more of an advanced tool, and it's a lot faster. So when you're building much more complex EAs, you can basically get it to do a lot quicker in here, and also give it context. So if you're building multiple EAs, or you're building an EA that does something with a website, for example, you can give it the website code files and the EA, and it will know what it needs to do with those particular files. So you'll find that this is a slow version, but the purpose of today is to give you the basics of, I found a strategy, I want to see if it works, I want to backtest it. Yeah. So the idea being, some guy has, this is really slow actually today. This isn't normally this slow. I don't know why this has been quite so slow, but the basics is, you go onto YouTube. Right. Now this is something else that happens. Okay. Can you see it's got stuck? Right. It's gone print, sell order opened, minus ticket, and it's stuck. Yeah. So occasionally it will get to the memory limit of your browser, and you have to say continue, and it will go, oh, I haven't finished, did I? Sorry, fell asleep, basically. So open buy order. Oh, there you go. So that's the end of that code. So that bit there is now followed on there. So this bit here is the end of this bit. So you copy that out into there, and then when it's finished the second part, you copy the second part. Wait for that to finish. That's what it's basically done for us. It gives you a complete summary of everything it's done anyway. when you're ready. This is very slow today. So normally a lot quicker than this. But I haven't used it on the web for a while, actually. So there we go. Let's copy that out, put that in there. The rest of the code, compile, done. Okay, so now we've got our data that's going to be displayed on the screen for us as well. In orange, in yellow. Again, I'll probably want to give it a color input. But, you know, this is the sort of thing when you're writing your prompt, you say, I want to show statistics on the screen. I'm also going to need you to match the color of the RSI input, or I'd like it in black, or I'd like it in red, or whatever. Best thing to do is use an input. Then you can use it on anything, can't you? But let me just change this to kind of a dark gray background. Be able to see it. So there's the trading statistics. Obviously, nothing's happened at the moment. So total trades 5, winning trades 4. Not really giving me exactly the trading statistics I wanted, but it's counting the trades basically, isn't it? So it's given us a running total, but it's not exactly. It was a bad prompt, wasn't it? I just gave it a rough idea of what I wanted it to do. So so that's basically how you can use it to just go and find a strategy. On YouTube, you'll find that there's obviously a million of these. So there's a guy on YouTube saying, I've got this strategy. It's absolutely fantastic. All you do is you sell this when you do this, you buy this when you do that. And this is the results I've had for the last month. I've made 27 grand. I've passed a prop firm. I've been paid out 10 grand. I'm absolutely awesome. Come and watch my video. Here's an affiliate link for the prop firm. Yeah. Anybody can make money in a month. I can find a strategy very easily that in the last month will quadruple an account. But you backtest that over 5 years, it destroys the account. Yeah. So what I wanted to show you this for today was so that next time you see one of those videos, code the strategy, put it in the backtester and run it over the last year. Yeah. And then put a comment on that guy's video saying, I built you an EA to model your strategy. This is the P&L of it. It's absolutely terrible. See what they come back with. Don't have to do that. But for yourself, prove to yourself that that edge actually exists before you start wasting time on it. What people tend to do, and what I have done many, many times in the past, is find a strategy, look into it, visually backtest it and go, that looks okay. Start trading it for weeks. And then after 3 or 4 weeks, you find it's not actually as good as you thought it was. You'll start tweaking it. You'll start changing it. It doesn't work. And then you'll chuck it. You will have wasted 6 weeks to 3 months to whatever it is of your time and your life following something that was not worth following in the first place. AI allows us now to just basically go in 15 minutes, model me this, make sure visually that it takes the trades that it should be taking, and then stick it in the backtester for a year and see if the equity curve goes up or down. If the equity curve goes down, look at it and go, wonder if I tweak that, will it work? Tweak it. If it still doesn't work, throw it away. You will spend an hour doing what you would have spent months doing manually. Yeah. So this is the point of this video today, or this session today, is to show you the power of this thing. Cody specifically, I've tried many agentic AIs, lots of different AIs. Cody specifically and Claude 4 are head and shoulders above all the other AIs for coding in MQL5. MQL5, MQL4 is the MetaTrader language. They are all good at coding, all AIs, but Cody specifically, because it's a source forge or source graph AI, is specifically focused on coding. So you're going to find that like that first version of the AI that I built, it went above and beyond. I said, build me an EA for RSI. And it went, you're going to need this. It knows that because it's built thousands of EAs for MetaTrader. It knows the MetaTrader language inside out. And it's specifically designed to go, right, I know what he means. I know what he's going to need as well. He doesn't know it yet, but this is what you're going to need. And it will go that little step ahead of you as a human being and think about things that you haven't thought of. So, for example, code me an opening range breakout strategy EA, it will go, you know what, he's going to need a line so he can see where the breakouts are, and he's going to need this, that, and the other, and he's probably going to he needs to think about this, and he's probably not thought that the different indices have different decimals after them. So what I'll do is I'll build in the different decimals so that the risk is calculated correctly based on what he's asked for. It will go that step ahead, whereas something like ChatGPT-4 is more generic, more chat-based and not coding orientated, so it won't be as accurate and it won't think that far ahead. So you will get a much better result using this than you will most of the other models out there. But even this is very stupid at times. You'll get stuck in loops where you'll go round and round in circles and you'll just go, you're not getting this. If that happens, you start a new window and it forgets that history. You give it the EA and you go, I'm looking to do this on it. This is exactly what I want to do. Teach it like a baby. Say, mansplain to it. Explain to it like a 3-year-old. Say, what keeps happening is this. What I want to happen is exactly this in exactly this way. And the prompt is the key. The more detailed your prompt is, the better the result will be, because it will think hard about every line of your prompt, and you will get a much more polished product out at the first iteration of it than the very first. So the first time I did it, it didn't even give me a buy signal. The second prompt I wrote was much more in-depth. Yeah, so the second prompt that I wrote was much more in-depth. Yeah, I gave it exactly what happens when the sell condition is met, and I said the buy order is going to be the opposite of that. And I told it what exactly I wanted the strategy to do. It got it right first time. The first iteration of it, which we built here, was where we said, make me a trading strategy in MT4 to sell when RSI is extended. Absolute free reign to do what the hell you like with that. Yeah. The second one, it didn't have any free reign. I told it exactly what it needed to do, and it did it. Yeah. So go away and play with it. Code is free. You can obviously pay. I pay. I use the AI. I use the API, but play around with it. For basic things, it's great. For anything when you start getting complicated with it, like for example, if you wanted to build a position trader EA in this, you're going to struggle. It's not that good at that much complication. It can be, but you will find that it will, what someone like myself could code in a day, it will take many, many, many days to get to. And there will be things that you just don't know about, that it won't know about, that you know as a coder that needs to be done. So, but for basic modeling, something that you can stick in the back tester and go, right, this is the guy's strategy. Is it profitable? No. Is it unprofitable? No. Okay. So there's a basis of a strategy here, because we've run this for 6 months and it hasn't lost money. So maybe we can improve it. So you stick it in the optimizer and you go, okay, so what about if we went with an 80-20? And we actually went with a 3R. And yeah, let's just try that. So, you can run optimizations on it. Actually, I've just done that wrong. Turn optimization off. I just wanted to run those inputs. So you can look at it and go, right, it has got legs. The guy's right. There is an edge in it, but there's probably a bit of something going on where it's not going to make money consistently. So there's ways that you can fine tune it, and you can have more inputs in it. So you could think, well, maybe what if I did it only at this or only at that condition? Add some new filters into it. Add a trend filter if you want to, that sort of thing. So it's not what that change I just made was not good. Just made a strategy up on the fly there, obviously, and it's come out at a break even, which isn't bad, is it? Let's see if we can find actually a profit on it. Let's check multiples of, let's go from 1 to 10. See if we can get 10R. Risking 2% is quite a big risk. 4 hour. So let's try a 1 hour and a 4 hour RSI. And we'll use a 70 step 5 to 85 RSI and a 30 step 5 to 15. Okay. Let's run an optimization on it. You never know. We may have found the Holy Grail live using AI. I use ChatGPT 4.0 for coding. How does it compare to SourceGraph? I think I just answered that one. I noticed ChatGPT, I can't even say it. ChatGPT consistently makes mistakes when working with MT4 and MT5, often confusing the two. Yes. So if you want to be super specific when you're talking to it, make me know for MT4 using MQL4 language. Yeah. If you say that, it will lock in the code base and it won't use any MQL5 terminology, basically. Again, these are belts and braces things you will learn as you use it. But I mean, they're all good. Let's stick it in ChatGPT. I mean, I don't use ChatGPT, but I've just told this to use MQL4 now, so it might. Right, see how short that is. Yeah. So look at the first iteration, and this is my point with Cody. Yeah. Look at the first iteration of that prompt and that EA. So our version is 436 lines. Their version is 64. I say theirs. We'll call it cheap GPT. Right. Compile. Error. So we've already got well, it's not an error, it's a warning. Return of order send should be checked. Yeah, so all the little things, the belts and braces of code that you need. So validation of orders, checking the market is open, stupid things that you have to do as a coder to make an EA actually work. ChatGPT will go, he wants something that goes up and down on RSI. Okay, well, this is basically the very basics, what you need to have that happen. Cody will go, okay, so we're going to need initialization functions. We're going to need deinitialization functions. If I'm drawing lines, I need to deinitialize those. I need to remove them when the chart is, when it's removed from the chart. It thinks ahead all the stuff that needs to be done to make the thing works. In ChatGPT, you have to say much more. So it would be, I need the EA to check for open orders, check market is open. You're going to need it to do a load of different things. Remove anything drawn when the init. Cody knows all this. It doesn't. Yeah. So that's the main difference. 4.0 is a great GPT, but Claude is head and shoulders from a coding perspective. And when you get something like Cody who takes Claude and says, basically all these agentic AIs, as they call them, or these specialist AI sites are. So this is Cody. It's obviously for coding. What it does in the background, when you type in, make me an EA for MT4, in the background, when you type that in, it's wrapping a prompt around your prompt. So what it's doing in the background is probably something along the lines of, assume the role of an expert MQL4 coder and trading expert with 20 years market experience. Develop an EA and trading strategy to, quote, execute trades in MetaTrader. Yeah. So all that the website, in this case Cody, is doing is it's putting in all the bits of prompts that you as a human being wouldn't know they needed. So when you tell an AI, so if you go back to here and say, if I put this prompt in again, I'm going to do it now actually, with that wrapped around it, you will get a much, much, much better response. So assume the role of an expert MQL4 coder and trading expert with 209 years of market experience. Let's go with 20. 20 years market experience. Develop an EA and trading strategy to... trading strategy for MT4 using MQL4 language that sells when RSI is extended and buys when... Well, that'll do. In either direction. Let's just put that. Hopefully, this is probably going to prove me wrong now. Thinking. Right, so this part here is taking into consideration trading strategy. So what the AI is now doing is going, okay, I need to, before I give him an answer, become an expert in trading for 20 years and an expert MQL4 coder. And then when I have learned all of that, I'm going to build him an EA. Yeah. So what this does, Cody, is it's doing all of that stuff in the background. So when I say make me an RSI strategy, it goes, okay, as an experienced coder, I know you're going to need a condition, a signal, and you're going to need input. So you're also going to need to check the market conditions, adjust lot size for decimals within each symbol. It knows all of that because it's been told it is an expert and to learn that language. Yeah. So that's the big difference you get with something like Cody and something like this. Okay. So now we're writing a fairly detailed EA, commented, fully commented, a little bit like we just got with Cody. Yeah. So it's explaining the strategy. So this is also now kind of developing the strategy for you. This code is provided for educational purposes. Past performance and future results. Always trade with the capital you can afford to lose. Blah, 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 blah. So you've got a much more complex strategy built there. Let's have a look at what that one did. We're running an optimization here. No profitable results. I'm just going to leave that for a minute. Let's just select that GPT one. There we go. See what inputs we got. RSI look back 14, extreme upper, extreme lower, sell on high, true, sell on low, true, higher time frame filter, 4 hours, require higher time frame RSI 50 equals 50. Don't know what that means. I'll have to read what it's built. ATR for stop loss. So it's using average true range as a stop loss parameter. Stop loss is your ATR multiple times 1.5. Your TP is ATR times 2. Risk reward ratio is positive. Percentage equity per trade, 1%. Broker spread filter. It knows now about broker spread. All this sort of stuff. So this is the difference. You know, this is why I say the prompt is the key thing with AI. Because I said you need to be an expert in trading. You've been trading for 20 years. You know what's important with trading, what's important with strategies, and more importantly, you're an expert coder. Now build me an EA. That is what you get. So the ChatGPT version, unless you know how to ask the question exactly correctly and prompt it in the right way, you will get crap. Cody, you don't need to prompt it in the correct way. You say, this is the basics of what I'm trying to do. I'm an absolute novice. I know nothing about coding. I've been trading for 3 months. I just want a strategy that this guy told me to see if it works. This is what the strategy is, roughly. This will get it almost 100% right. This, unless you explain to it all of those extra elements that I've just said, you have to be a super expert in coding, in trading, in da-da-da-da-da. It won't get it right for you. Yeah. So they are very different. And this is why using the specialist EAs is a much better thing, a better way to do it, because it's just going to give you that little extra edge when you're building simplistic strategies and simplistic EAs. ChatGPT wants to sell on RSI high and low, or the description of the parameters is wrong. Sell on RSI high. I don't know. We'd need to read, because it's also, this is the thing, it's also developed a strategy for you. So you basically, what you've kind of said here is, there's a second prompt, wasn't it? This one. So you've said, you're an expert with 20 years experience. Make me a strategy that sells when RSI is extended in either direction. It's probably now gone off and said, okay, I'm going to research RSI mean reversion, and I'm going to research RSI breakout. And it's come up with a strategy, and it will explain here the trigger. RSI crosses down through the overbought. Yeah. Mean revert. RSI low, momentum follow. RSI crosses below the 30 is a momentum follow. So what it's done is it's said, okay, there's two ways to trade RSI. Do you want to sell on the RSI, i.e. mean revert, or do you want to go momentum on the RSI breakout? Yeah. And if so, which one do you want to use? Yeah. So this is basically created a breakout and a mean reversion strategy in one go. In what, 4 minutes? I don't know why I'm showing you like this, because it makes me obsolete. But anyway, it's making coders are obsolete, 100%. I used to, obviously I've been coding for years. I've built over the last few weeks, I've been telling you, I've been working on this project for, it's quite a big project with lots of different features and functionality for traders basically, but news trading, analysis and all that sort of thing. It uses AI and all sorts of stuff. But well over, I would say probably 70, 80% of that website has been built by AI. Yeah. The guys that are building it have had very little code input. And I've looked through what they've built and the code that they've built. And I have to say, it would have taken me 6 weeks to do what they've done in the last 3 days. Unbelievable. So, you know, this is made basically my job as a coder almost obsolete, I would say. You've got to know what you're doing at the end of the day. So when something goes wrong, and this is where you find you're going to hit hurdles with anything complex, anything simple, fine. Anything complex, you're going to hit hurdles because you're going to need to explain in more complex than layman's terms to AI why the thing's going wrong. So something will happen. I will know why that's happened. If you don't know why that's happened, you are going to have to ask it to find the needle in the haystack. I will know where the needle is, and I'll be able to say the EA isn't working because it needs a fix. Ah, I see. I'll fix that. Rather than it's not working, let me have a look and try some stuff. And it will go off and try things, and none of that will work. It will come back, and you'll go, hang on, but that's now fixed, but now that's broken, and you end up in a spiral of death. And you end up sometimes, I think, probably starting again, going, hang on a minute, this has gone way too wrong. You need to take backups. But as a coder, I can write a prompt which is sort of 15, 20 lines long that will just do exactly what I need it to do. And this is where, if you've got any experience in coding, this thing becomes absolutely amazing. But, you know, it's written out the code there, obviously. It's giving you the parameter ranges. It's done safety. You know, this is the thing. The first version didn't do any of this, did it? The risk there. It didn't put a spread filter in. Yeah. Friday shutdown. Yeah. It knows you need to, it knows, because I've said to it, you're a trading expert with 20 years experience. It knows it can't hold over the weekends, or it shouldn't hold over the weekends. So we're going to shut down on Fridays. Yeah. All this stuff comes from saying a simple prompt like, you are an expert trader with 20 years experience. All of a sudden you're like, right, okay. Walk forward optimization. It's also recommended optimization tests that you can do. It's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, happy coding and good trading. There you go. Go and have a play. But yeah, so go and fly off and go down that rabbit hole if you want to, or ask me and I'll just do it for you. On which kind of EA are you working in visual code? All EAs. Something with price. It's just a price feed, basically. It's part of what I'm building for these guys. So it feeds price from various brokers via an EA to a Supabase database, which can then be used to analyze historical news events and find edges within news events, which is very good, very promising. So yeah, basically, we're looking at correlation between standard deviation on news events and price action, basically. So, for example, this morning, I haven't been watching the charts at all, have we? I've no idea if we've made any money this morning. Probably not. Iranian ambassador to United Nations in Geneva. If we come to conclusion that the United States is directly involved in attacks on Iran, we will start responding to the US. So, for example, that 3.4 CPI. So, looking at the deviation between what the previous was and the forecast. So we are forecasting a 0.2 drop. What we got was a 0.1 drop. Now, the 0.1 drop is a negative result. However, it's a positive result because it's not as bad as the 3.3 that we were expecting. Yeah. So it's analyzing historically when this news event occurs. Look back at the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years worth of CPI year on year. Calculate the standard deviation. Calculate the average deviation. Analyze this result based on standard and average deviation. Come up with a plus or minus 10 score, wrong way around, as to the strength expected based on historical price action for the next move over the next 1 hour, 4 hours, and day. Yeah. So what it'll be able to do, hopefully, is when that comes out with a 3.4, it will go 6, and you'll go, that's a strong buy. You'll just buy it. And then it will say, over the next hour, historically, you should expect this. Over the next 4 hours, historically, you should expect this. Over the next day, historically, you should expect this. So you can determine whether or not it's a 1 hour hold, scalp, whether it's a 4 hour hold, intraday, or whether it's we should expect it to continue for the next 24 hours. If so, we can probably get to break even average and see if we can go for a run. Yeah. So it's designed to basically crunch every news event that comes out as quickly as it can and say, you should buy it, you should sell it, you should stay out. Yeah. Obviously it needs price data to do that. And obviously it needs all the news data. So that's what's being built. But yeah, it's a very good idea. It's based on the fundamentals that I've worked on the past. It's an old guy I used to trade with. His sort of brainchild, if you like. But whether or not it's going to give us an edge, I don't know. You can see historical edges in price action patterns, but the thing is, the deviations are very random. If you look at retail sales month on month, for example, for the US, and you look at the deviations that you get, I'm going to say I'll show you the website, but I don't know if I'm allowed. But if you look at the deviations you get, so there's a 0.1 there, there's a 0.1 there, there's a 0.4 there, there's a 0.5 there, there's a 0.2, there's a 0.1, there's a 0.1, there's a 0.1, there's a 0.3. So you can say pretty much the average is probably 0.3 as a standard deviation over the last year-ish. But the maximum deviation is 0.5 and the lowest deviation is actually 0.1. There was none that came out as forecast at all. So this is a really good example. Retail sales month on month over the last, 2 years, it has never come out as forecast. So you know that when this news result comes out, it is never going to get the same number as the forecast because it just doesn't do that. So it's either going to get a bullish move or a bearish move. How big will the bullish or bearish move be? Depends on the deviation from the forecast. And it varies from 0.5 to 0.1. So if you get a 0.3, I would say either above or below the forecast, that's a strong buy or sell. So anything above a 0.3 or below a 0.3 deviation, you should jump on it. If it's a 0.2 or a 0.1, we can historically look back over price and see that it probably just did a whipsaw. Yeah, that's the data that is compiling, and it's using AI to create the calculations and the mathematics and updates every time there's a news event, and it re-evaluates and readjusts all the figures and all that sort of stuff. So the goal is to turn it into a signal service, basically, which would be bloody good. But you're going to have to react on it quick as well. And that's the thing that I've kind of said to them, great looking at all of this historical data, but you'll find that by the time you get that news result, by the time the thing's calculated and it issued a signal, it's gone. You've missed it. Yeah. You know what spikes in news are like. Yeah. You get an hour spike, but that happens within the first 30 seconds to a minute, that spike. If you're not on it within 30 seconds, it's gone. You missed it. So, but there is the whole, this is why they're looking at the analysis of hourly, 4 hourly and daily, and possibly even weekly. So if you miss that initial move, does it continue for 4 hours or 24 hours after? Yes, then okay. It means that if we get on this 10 minutes after the news event, we should still be all right, in theory. So, it's a really good idea, but I'm a little skeptical about how you could actually use that information. I'm more of a look at negative result after negative result after negative result, and basically you want to be selling it. One news event, I don't think, is necessarily the way to utilize fundamental data, but we'll see. It might work. Anyway, any questions on any of that? Hopefully that was useful, and it gives you an idea of what you can do with AI and what you can't do with AI. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Really, it's not going to be. It is good, but it's not. It's not the be all and end all. Yeah, anything really complex, and let's face it, simple stuff works sometimes, but more complex stuff tends to work better. Like the position trader EA, if you want to build something with this many inputs in that, good luck. You're going to find it. Unless you have coding experience, you're going to find creating something of this magnitude automatically in AI is going to be very challenging. I haven't tried, but I've got lost with Cody sometimes, and I'm like, I know what the problem is, and I give it the code, and I just give it pointers because I just can't be bothered to figure it out. And I'm like, but you're looking in the wrong area. I've told you what the problem is, and it goes, no, I think it's something else. And you're like, no, it's not. I know what it is. I just can't be asked. And if you can't do it for me, then I'm going to have to do it myself. But sometimes you just find it tries to be a little too clever. It's a little bit over clever, if you like, which doesn't help. But double stop out today. So no trades on the DAX. Good job, because it's just doing nothing. Double stop out on the FTSE. So non-farm payroll day, never much fun. We'll see how we get on this afternoon. I might reduce risk this afternoon because I don't know that we're going to do anything today. I think there's a little bit too much fear in the market at the moment. No news this morning apart from that out of the Iranian ambassador. Right. Any other questions? If you want help with any of that, let me know. I can see if I can help, but the whole point of AI is it helps you. So me helping you with AI is kind of defeating the object, isn't it? The whole point is to put the power in your hands. So go and find a strategy, test it, go and try something. Go to YouTube and just go to anything and put in, I don't know, Bollinger Band strategy, and pick a video from a guru. He'll do trading 212. No, don't pick a broker because they're definitely going to give you something that doesn't work. Bollinger Bands explains 5 strategies that actually work. Prove it. Not seen this guy before. He's new. Math Market. So yeah, I suspect in it'll probably give you a strategy, 2 standard deviations. What you want is a set of rules. I'm just seeing if he actually had a slide with a set of rules on it. Might be too complicated. Yeah, you just want a set of rules. Like I say, you want the condition. Ali might have something. I've started watching this one. Look. Ali quite often has rule-based strategies. Tends to be more futures-based, though. There you go. So you could copy this and paste this in, and it it knows what to do with it. Why don't they just give you a set of rules? Anyway, you know what to do. Basically, you need a set of rules. Yeah. Give the set of rules to AI. Get it to build you something. Test it. Visually make sure it does what you want. Stick the indicators on the chart. And then back test it. Yeah. Don't waste time with it. If you can't make it work for the last year profitably, chuck it, start again. Yeah. It's just the whole purpose of today was to stop the system hopping. Yeah. Don't spend time on strategies. Most strategies are absolute rubbish. Prove it to yourself before you start going down that route. FTNet, I coded an... Sorry. I coded an EA with almost 1,500 lines, struggling with it somehow. It's not ready to present at the moment. Great session, important insights. Yeah. So if you've got 1,500 lines of code, that's what I've just built this morning had 400 in it. Yeah, I mean it's very easy. 1,500 is not a big EA, is it? So if you've got 1,500 lines of code, I think the maximum input you can put in to Cody. Let me just put 1,300 lines of code in there. Check this EA out. Okay, so that's fine. Let me just shut that down. Stop. New chat. New chat. Why is new chat button not working? Stop. Let me do a new window. There is a limit to the number of lines you can put in. Oh, not that much. So let's just put that in. I'll see what the limit is. I think it's 1,500. What does this EA do? There we go. So I think it's around. It doesn't. I was hoping it was going to tell me the limit, but you might be all right with 1,500-ish lines. Put the whole thing in to Cody and say, this is an EA for MT4. Tell it what you're struggling with. It will analyze the code. It will tell you what the EA does. So the prompts that you want to use is going to be something along the lines of, tell me what this EA for MT4, 5, whatever it is, does. Add comments to the code to explain what each function does and section does. So I can see visually how each function performs or something like that. Yeah, and if you just stick the code in like that, what it will do is it will rewrite that, or it will, it's going to rewrite it, and it will comment the code. In the comments, what it will do is it will explain in layman's terms what each function is doing and how it's working. If your first thing to do when you've got a problem is, you see how it's commented all of this now out, and it's being very like variables that persist throughout the EA's execution, called once when the EA is first loaded onto the chart. So it will start initially commenting everything, and it tells you what each function does. So when you've got a problem with an EA, normally there's a function that's not doing something. So it will say main tick function called blah, 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 blah. This shows the RSI value. This checks this. This refreshes the trading logic. New candle check. Only trade on the candle's formation. This prevents multiple signals on the same candle. Indicator calculations. Get the RSI from specific time frame. And you'll suddenly go, I didn't want to get the RSI from a specific time frame. It explains it to you so that you can go through the whole code. And it obviously takes you a bit of time to read the whole thing. But you go through the whole code and you go, that's not what I meant that to do. It will tell you what you've coded is wrong. So there's something in there. You will probably have in your mind exactly what this thing should be doing. What it's actually doing is different. So when you ask it to comment your code, it's telling you what you've written. It's saying, this is what it does. If that's not what we wanted, you're an idiot. Yeah. But it shows you where you've been an idiot. If you go through this process and you're like, everything in here seems to be exactly what I want it to do, like create multi-line formatting text display, calculate net profit loss, calculate win rate percentage, all of that stuff. If you suddenly think, right, everything in there is correct, you can say, okay, thanks. Code looks good, but the problem I'm having is XXX. Yeah. Explain in layman's terms the problem that you're having. It has now read your entire code base. You need to go continue there. There you go. There's another example of it getting stuck, which it does. Because it's just hitting memory limits in your browser, basically. So what it's done is, because you've put it in here and it's gone through line by line through your code, commented your code, Cody now has a complete understanding of the exact functionality of this EA, what it does, why it does, and how the parts interact and the functions interact with each other. Because it has that knowledge, that context now, when you say I'm having a problem with it and it's doing this, it's going to go, well, of course it's doing this because this line of code does this line of code does that. If you'd like it to do this, this is the way you would achieve it. And it will rewrite the code for you. And you'll go, oh. But this is the beauty of it. It is an expert in MQL4, MQL5. It's not a trading expert with tens of years of history, but you could say to it, I'm having a problem with this strategy. Assume the role of a 20-year trading expert, analyze my code and find out where I can improve my strategy. It will then start thinking outside the box. And that's where AI becomes really useful. But there you go. So it's going to give you a complete overview now of the logic, how it works, everything it does, all the safety features in there, etc., etc. So you can then say to it, right, I've got a problem. Fix it for me, or recommend. Yeah, you can say, and again, the other downside to Cody, I'm going on a bit now, but the other downside to Cody is you find it sometimes you'll type a prompt and ask it to do something or ask it to check something, and it will go ahead of itself. It will go, I can rewrite that for you. If you've got 1,500 lines of code like that, you ask it something and it go into, I'll write that again for you mode. You will sit there for 5 minutes waiting for the thing to be written. So there's a prompt that you can use is when you want to ask it a question and get information only, do not make any code changes. but analyze the code and find out where something is wrong. Recommend a different way to do this, or da 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 da. But you're saying do not make any code changes. What it will do is it will not take your entire code base that you've put in there and rewrite it for you. It will say you can do this by changing this code, and it will just show you the part of code that it will recommend the change on, or an additional piece of code to insert somewhere to make a change. But it will not rewrite the whole thing for you. You've got to be clever with your prompts. Really, really treat it like a kid. Yeah, it's like, okay, we're going to look at fire now, right? Before we light the fire, do not get close to the fire. Do not put anything in the fire. Do not touch the fire. I am now going to light the fire. Okay, so rather than going, I've lit a fire, and the kid goes, ah, wow, that's brilliant, starts chucking things in it, gets really close, puts its hand over it. You've told it what to do first. So I've got a problem with my code. Here's my code. Do not rewrite the whole thing, but have a look through it and see if there's any lines that aren't right. Yeah, you will get on so much faster, especially with Kodi in browser, because it can take an absolute age to write stuff. So yeah, go and do that. That will help. But first of all, give it context. So give it everything and ask it to explain what the code does and comment the code. By doing that, first of all, it's going to tidy your code up if you haven't commented it properly, which, let's face it, we're all lazy coders. We don't. So first of all, it's going to do that. But secondly, it's going to completely understand exactly what this thing does before you ask it any questions. If you give it a snippet of code and say, I've got an onTick function here, and you copy that code there, and you say, I've got this onTick function, which has got a problem. What could it be? It has no idea what everything else in your EA does. So you have to give it the full picture. Yeah. If there is something you know that this onTick function is meant to do this, for some reason it isn't doing this, and you know what this is, you can give it just the function and say, okay, just this one little thing, can you change it for me? Yeah. And it does, if it doesn't need to know the context. So in here, so put this up there and say, I have a compile error in this code. Can you find it? Yep, there's no compile error in there. But looking at the onTick function, I can see the compile error. The issue is that the variable naming conflict. You're declaring these variables. I mean, it's written code and it's got it wrong. This is what I mean. There's a million ways to do the same thing, isn't there? It's going to now rewrite the tick function, and it's going to do it in a better way because it wrote it and it's identified that it could have done it better. Yeah. If I say the same prompt again with the new code, it will probably find an error with the new code it's written, because you can always find a way to improve something, can't you? But if you know there's a specific thing in a specific part, then give it that part. But that is invaluable, that first prompt. Read this, tell me what it does, and comment it for me. You'll never go wrong. If you do that in Visual Code as well, so if you go into Visual Code Studio, if you use Visual Code Studio, yeah, and basically create a new file, EA test, put the code in, yeah. And so I'm saying EA test coding, comment this EA for MT4 and explain what it does in detail. Kodi is basically going to take that file, read the whole thing, and right, see the code speed difference. See the speed difference here. And this is consistent speed. It doesn't ever slow down. This is the standard Kodi speed. Yeah, so it's much, much, much better. I say it's much better. He's got stuck. Oh, it's because he wants me to apply that, doesn't he? Yeah. But and it's obviously much better doing it in software. Oh, and the other thing as well, one last thing before I go, and I will go, right? Watch this. Write an EA for MT4 that exports hourly OHLC data to a CSV file. Yep. Okay, I'm going to start this running. Right. Switching windows. Okay. What do you think that's doing now in the background? What would you expect it to be doing in the background? Probably writing the code for you, wouldn't you? And you're getting on and doing other things. Yeah. So one thing you need to know about Cody is if you're not watching him, he doesn't work. He's lazy. So I'm sitting here now having a look through this, and I've asked him to build me an EA, and I'm like, oh, he's probably finished that by now. He hadn't started. Now he's carrying on. Yeah. If you do not have the browser open, it will not code. So one thing to do, tip, move the browser up there, and then he's still coding. Yeah. But if you were in a different browser window, it doesn't work. It's so annoying. The amount of times I've done that in here and I've gone and asked it to do something and then I've flipped over and I've forgotten completely and come back and gone, oh. Anyway, that's just built an EA that will automatically export OHLC data into a CSV file for you. So if you ever want to use data for analysis in anything else, that will export it all from your broker. Less than a minute. I have good news. Deutsche Bank has just confirmed that SEPA transfers to AB Mano banks are permitted. Excellent. That was the problem you were having when you were talking about in, or someone was talking about in chat. With I don't have any of those problems in the UK. We have money laundering, but never had an issue withdrawing, depositing, or doing anything personally. But I know it used to be a problem. It used to be a big problem, but it obviously still is in some parts of the world, I guess. Euro Swiss ADR. Oh, it's already hit ADR and bounced. Pound Swiss 2. So this is just the Swiss franc unraveling yesterday's safe haven run, or part of it. So I still like it short. Strengthen the Swiss. I still don't think we're at the end of this. I think we're only scratching the surface of this conflict, aren't we? So more buys on the Swiss. Right, I'll leave it there. Hopefully that was useful today. Obviously, it's it's something you can go and play around with. But don't you can create your own EAs to do what you like with it. But being able to code an EA and being able to understand how to develop and robustness test a strategy are very, very different things. So the usefulness of this is whenever you come across a guru, check out the guru by automating his strategy, backtesting it over a longer period than he has, just to confirm whether or not there is actually an edge there. Yeah, because you will find 90% of these strategies out there are just utter rubbish. They're there to get YouTube views. They're there to make them money. Yeah, he's had 12,000 views on this in 2 months. He's just ticking along, making cash out of it. He's probably selling something out of it. At the end of the day, there's probably a course or something in there. But some of this content is brilliant, and it's there's a lot of strategies you'll find the same people do over and over again, that you will be able to replicate. So if you come across the same strategy over and over and over again, there's probably something in it. So it's worth modeling it. Yeah. So now you can model them yourself. And part of the reason I did this video is so that people can model their own strategies rather than asking me all the time, which I don't mind doing. I just don't have the time. Hey, I can do it for you. Right. I'll leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. If you've got any questions, stick them in the members group about or any ideas on prompts as well. If you want help, if you can't quite get it to do what you want it to do, ask me and I can help with it. But yeah, go and have a play. See how you get on. All right, so anything you need, let me know. I'll be back at 2:30 this afternoon. We'll trade the US Open. Dud today. Nothing we can do with this morning. It's just not going anywhere. So we'll see if we can get something out this afternoon. But eyes peeled on the news today. There's lots of it, obviously, potentially coming through. And we've also got forecast news for unemployment as well today. But it's FOMC, so it might be sideways. So unless anything kicks off war-wise, be a little careful today. I think we might go sideways. All right, have a good one. If I see you this afternoon, I'll see you this afternoon. If not, back on Friday. Have a good day.